Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. Today is Sunday, September 6th, 2020, and today I'm going to be taking a look at a 2020 electoral map and talking about Donald Trump's re-election strategy. So as we've seen over the past couple of weeks, Donald Trump has made a number of comments that have hurt his chances in some key swing states, most notably Arizona. Right now, we're talking about John McCain. Though he is denying it, a number of media sources, including Fox News, have confirmed that the comments Donald Trump has made are being accurately reported on in the mainstream media. And also, Donald Trump's just comments about John McCain has pushed the entire McCain family to support Joe Biden. That will not play well in a state where, McCain in 2016 outran Donald Trump's margin by 9% on the same ballot. So with a lot of support for the McCain family in Arizona, it's very hard for us to see, Donald Trump using that state as a part of his reelection strategy. Honestly, it's very similar to Alabama for the Democrats in the United States Senate elections, meaning it's practically gone at this point, given, the things that have been said. I will say that Donald Trump could win Arizona in an election where he does win all the other swing states. It's possible. All of these states have a slight chance of going to one candidate, but looking at Arizona in particular, it's very hard for me to see how, after these recent comments that have just been released, and also the numerous comments he's made about the McCain family in general, with Cindy McCain speaking at the DNC, there are a number of things that just don't add up for Donald Trump in this state. The Senate election has gone awry. The midterm elections were not good for the Republicans in this state whatsoever. So realistically, I will say that Arizona is probably one of the states that has shifted so far away from Donald Trump over the past couple of years. The Biden campaign has also solidified their hold in a number of other swing states, which is why I think Donald Trump's reelection strategy is now down to 4 states. And that's very difficult. Donald Trump would have to rely on carrying some other swing states that went to him by larger than 5% in 2016. So we'll characterize those now. That's Texas, that's Iowa, that's Ohio, and that's Georgia. The rest of the states on this map were decided by less than 5 percentage points, including Maine, except for Maine's 1st congressional district. But, the rest of these states were, I believe, actually, you can't include Virginia, 5% or less. So when we look at the presidential margin of victory for Hillary Clinton in some of these states, Joe Biden would likely have to retain all of these states. He probably will. He's leading in Colorado. He's leading in Nevada. He's leading in Minnesota. He's leading in New Hampshire. He's leading in Maine. We can back this up with the data. We can start off with New Hampshire. This is a state that was super close 2016. Biden's up by 8. Go over to Maine. Biden is up by 10. You go over to Minnesota. Biden is up by 6. You go over to Nevada. Biden is up by 7. And then you go over to Colorado, where Biden is up by 12. So all of these states we would characterize for Joe Biden. Honestly, I don't see a way where Trump is able to take away any of them. Minnesota at the most, but that would be in a very good scenario for Donald Trump. Now, the swing states that remain, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Florida, and Arizona, let's just apply 2016 results to this map. This brings us down to 101 electoral votes, but this isn't 4 states. As we see, Texas, Iowa, and Ohio, and Georgia would all have to go to Donald Trump in order for this, reelection strategy to work. But I think Trump's campaign is counting on that. He's still leading in all 4 of them. He's ahead in Texas by a percentage point. He's ahead in Iowa and Ohio by 2 percentage points. He's ahead in Georgia by a percentage point. So Trump's margin here is not exactly too convincing that he's going to solidly win these states, but I will say that he is the favorite at this point to carry all 4 of them. But as you can see, some inroads have been made by the Democratic Party in some other swing states. Arizona, Florida, North Carolina. These states are all inconsequential to the Democrats. Why? Because the Rust Belt is their main target. The Rust Belt is what they can use to win. So the first state I'm going to eliminate from this map. It sounds like, this is an episode from something. Actually, I'm not going to name any show, but, Michigan. Let's take Michigan out of this. Michigan is a state that the Trump campaign is probably going to have their worst margin in out of all 4 of these Rust Belt states, Minnesota included. I think Michigan will vote to the left of Minnesota in this election. Minnesota has always been slightly competitive, just always has voted for the Democratic Party. For the first time in quite some time now, I believe in a couple of decades, Minnesota voted to the right of the national popular vote, and generally it doesn't do that. But that's due to the fact that Donald Trump completely changed the entire Rust Belt and made it, super competitive enough that he won 3 out of the 4 states I was just discussing. So Minnesota, I think, will go to Biden in this election. But I think Michigan will as well, but by a larger margin, even though it did go to Trump in 2016. The Democratic Party is not neglecting these states as they did in the past. So Michigan's out. What's the next state to go out? Well, it's Arizona. And like I said, I made a lot of reasons as to why I think Arizona is gone at this point. He could recover. We have 2 months to Election Day. But at this point, I honestly think that Donald Trump's reelection strategy lies in these remaining 74 electoral votes: Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Florida. You see, the margins that Donald Trump is underwater against Joe Biden in Pennsylvania and Arizona are roughly the same. But I do think that Donald Trump is going to take another hit following this new news coming out in Arizona. I think that Biden's lead could possibly expand to 5-6%. Mark Kelley's doing phenomenal in the Senate election, up 17 in the most recent Fox News poll. And then Arizona, shows Biden ahead by 9 in the most recent one. Could you imagine if that poll was taken right after these comments were sent out on the mainstream media? As much as Trump would like to deny it, it's very hard to deny something that the media is just constantly pouncing on. And like the Democratic Party will as well. So you can definitely expect a number of ads that Donald Trump has not pushed for in Arizona for this upcoming Labor Day weekend. So I think this will be a very interesting week to see some data come out of Arizona. But Arizona goes to Biden. Michigan goes to Biden. Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Florida are the final states I think that is the key to the White House, again, for Donald Trump. You see, putting Biden at 259 means that Donald Trump cannot expand on his 2016 margin. In fact, he would need to carry all of these swing states in order to even have a somewhat convincing margin. If he loses any of these states, it's either a tie in the best case or a loss in the worst case. But there's only 2 outcomes if he loses 1 out of these 4 states. Flip Pennsylvania, Biden wins. Put it back, flip North Carolina, Biden wins. Put it back. Same thing goes for Florida. Then Wisconsin, like I said, best case, it's a tie. But still, that would be very unlikely. And also, if Wisconsin's going blue, so is Pennsylvania. But let's revert these back to swing states, not New York, as much as Trump would like it to be, not New York, and not a Republican New York. I don't know what just happened. But these 74 electoral votes are going to be Donald Trump's pathway. Right now, I will say that the margin in Florida is okay enough that Trump could possibly win it. Same thing in North Carolina. He's practically neck and neck with Biden in this state. So that's what, that puts Trump at 249. So together that's 34 electoral votes. So that puts Joe Biden and Donald Trump neck and neck at this point on the presidential race, leaving these 30 electoral votes. But in Wisconsin, Biden is up by a pretty substantial amount. He's up in Wisconsin by 7%. He's up in Pennsylvania by 5%. And you can see that Pennsylvania could possibly go to the right of Wisconsin, but even then, that puts Trump at 269. He would need to carry Wisconsin as well, but he's underwater by 7 in Wisconsin, which is why I think it's very important to note that even in these 4 states, Trump's pathway to re-election, it still isn't super easy for me to draw a map where he could win, because him withdrawing ads in Michigan, and yes, he has money reserved and he still has digital ad spending, there are notable signs that someone is starting to realize they will lose this state. The Senate race is moving away from the GOP in Michigan. The presidential race is moving even further away as well. We're talking about Biden possibly winning in this state by 7-8%. The reason why I'm not going to trust the Wisconsin polls too much is because they were flat out wrong in 2016. They actually were pretty accurate in Michigan in 2016, as they were in Pennsylvania. Within the margin of error is something that they account for, and it's possible. But Wisconsin, Trump being down by 7% isn't something that I'm just going to say, Wisconsin is absolutely likely blue. There's no way Trump carries Wisconsin, because as Trump has showed us, he can defy all expectations. He could very well carry Michigan and Arizona. But for right now, these 2 seem pretty much out of reach. And I honestly think that Trump's campaign should really focus on these remaining 4 states in order to win the election. Because it's not hard for us to draw a map where Trump wins Florida. It's not hard to see how he carries North Carolina. Carolina went to him by 4% in 2016. Florida went by 1% in 2016. But Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin were all less than 1%. But Michigan was the closest out of them all. They also disapprove of Trump by the largest margin. Biden is up in that state, not larger than Wisconsin, but again, adjusting for 2016 incorrect data. So Michigan, I say, goes to the Democrats. But Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Trump is still down, but it's possible for him to win here. But this map is just getting worse and worse for Trump every single day. Because before, when we talked about Trump winning re-election, maybe he could have won Minnesota. Maybe he could have won Nevada. Maybe he could have won New Hampshire. But we're 58 days out, 57, 58 days out from the general election, and it's very hard for us to see how Trump could win without these 4 states, because, spoiler alert, he can't. Yes, he could come back somehow and carry Arizona on Election Day, but as it stands right now, following everything that's just been recently reported in the past 24 hours, on top of his lead already being very, loss being very strong against Joe Biden here. I mean, Biden's up 5% in this state, 49% of the vote. Hillary Clinton only received 44% in 2016. So Biden's considerably outperforming Hillary Clinton, which means that Arizona could very well go blue, but Trump really would have to win that back and win over Texas, win Iowa, win Ohio, win Georgia, just to compensate for a Wisconsin loss. And right now, Biden's leading in all 4 of these states. But if I was to say, you know what, here's a map where Trump would win, it would be through these 4. So not saying that Trump is favored to win re-election by any means, because he isn't. Realistically, Trump is not on the correct pathway to win. So this is not my electoral college projection. I don't think North Carolina and Florida would go red in the same map that Arizona would go blue. At least that's not likely. It's possible, but it's not likely. The likeliest scenario is that they all go blue together, or they all go red together, assuming that Donald Trump is able to completely turn around this campaign. But that's entirely up to him. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to comment down suggestions below. Subscribe on the left if you haven't already, and check out the Instagram and Twitter. If you're interested in seeing my actual electoral college projection, it should be on the playlist right there. So you can go ahead and see my most recent prediction there. On the screen, there's a video you can watch that's tailored towards your interest. And yeah, so again, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all later today for video number 3.